You have a very good sense and idea of what the Barca style is. So maybe it'll be interesting to hear your take about it.
So I think these are the pros and cons of Xavi.
All right, all right. You come prepared. This is beautiful.
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of homework on Xavi because I'm super interested. I mean, you know me, I'm very proud of my obsession with Barcelona. Unlike,
Yes,
some people who say, "Oh, you're obsessed with Barcelona, focused on Real Madrid." We're all obsessed with our arch rivals. And if you don't admit it, then you're just lying to yourself. So I've done my Xavi homework. Um, so
I'm
I
just gonna kick back for a bit.
Go ahead, smoke a cigar, do your thing, pick one of your flower pots and roll it up if you want.
I do have it over there. Man.
I think uh, I think that Xavi is still absolutely out of his mind for accepting this right now. I think this would have been there at the end of the season in this summertime if he wanted it still. I think to turn this ship around is going to take a lot of work. His ideologies are a complete 180 turn from Koeman, the way he plays. I think it's going to be challenging for Barcelona, and I have questions for you as well amid all this. But if you look at Xavi's style of play, he is very hell bent on playing one way and one way only, and this is reflective of all of his tactics with Al Sadd. It's reflective of everything he's said in the past 10 years or so, and we know that he's just going to stick to one way. So the advantage is that it's at everything that Barcelona fans wanted. It's the possession in the opponent's third. It's high pressing. It's control of the ball and constantly having it and dictating play the exact way that Pep Guardiola wanted to do it and did it
Intense,
successfully.
intense pressing. You forget the intensity is a
In,
key word.
sure, intense pressing, all of that stuff. But given the fact that he's hell bent on playing that way, I think it's going to be easier to scout, and I think that works for Barca long term. But the problem with for Barca right now is that they're in the moment right now. They're wounded, and to play this way right now, would Xavi be flexible enough to play differently against the Bayern, against the City, against Liverpool, who will absolutely murder this team if they play that way? And if based on you and I talked about Xavi's quote where he said he was asked by Sid Lowe like 10 years ago or so when talking about his philosophy. He was asked, if you spend 2 years of losing, does that mean you have to change your identity? And he said, no, that means you have to change the players and keep the identity.
Exactly.
But let me ask you this. If Barcelona endure 2 years of losing under Xavi, will Barcelona actually be patient enough to change the players for him before they change him? That's the question I have for you. So open your eyes. It's story time is over.
This was not a good story. I was hoping to be in for a treat. Yeah, instead, you started off firing shots, saying that this is not the right time. That you can't believe that he's accepting this offer. First of all, I would like to address that point because already there, I mean, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
I'm fine. I'm doing great.
You're out of your mind to make that call when I would argue it's the complete opposite. It's probably the best time right now. One, he comes with the confidence of not just president, the entire Barca universe. Okay, I can't remember. You tell me the last time that a coach was brought in with so much expectation, not just expectation, so much backing, so much esperanza, so much hope, that actually, Barca has always been a very divided club in their fan base as well as politically. Xavi could be uniting all of us here, and that has not been succeeded since, even Guardiola was divisive. Shit. I mean,
Xavi's going to be divisive. Xavi is going to.
No,
Look,
no, I don't think he'll be not necessarily from the start with the Barca fan base. I'm telling you right now.
Not with the fans, but with the dressing room, he will be, I think.
Well, listen, the dressing room. So that's the second point. You talk about what if Barca will go on a losing streak of 2 years and not win anything, like Madrid will be doing now for 2 consecutive years and not win a title, right? Like last year when they Blanco, nothing.
You just
this year
love
also
you
nothing.
love speaking way too soon. You love speaking way too soon.
So if that would happen in Can Barca with Xavi having the backing again of the president, of the fans, him being who he is, childhood hero, legend. You're talking about, like I said, the return of a prodigal son. It doesn't get any bigger than Xavi Hernandez. There will be so much patience given the time. I mentioned it today on the show as well. I can't remember a time where I saw the fans so engaged and so patient, keyword there, and willing to really want this team to succeed, which sounds silly perhaps. I mean, obviously every fan base of every club wants their club to succeed. Otherwise we wouldn't be fans of a club. However, Barça, Madrid, can put more clubs into that sentence, are very also exigente, very demanding of their team. And a 1-0 in the Clásico, what did he, 2-1 it ended. No, what was it? Holy
I don't
shit.
know. I lost track of. We win every time. That's all I know.
What was it? Be honest. Honestly,
The last one, I think it was
2-1.
I think so.
Normally the team would have been booed out of the stadium. Okay, wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. The fans are very much eager and hopeful that this team will do well. I mentioned it as well. Again, I think the pandemic, the economical situation of the club, the change in presidency, the change in board, the change in coaches now as well. We went from Valverde to Setien to Koeman and now Xavi. I mean, in an amount, in what has it been, 3 years, 4 years? It's we want stability. We want this team to continue to compete with Europe's elite. Our greatest player to have ever played the game left recently under very difficult circumstances. Call them even traumatic circumstances. Nobody wants to go down to that dark road again, like the Gaspar era that I lived through, which was the darkest. But and the elder generation have went through way darker times when Barça was not winning European titles and La Ligas, 18, 11 years, etc. So we all know that history that's there, and nobody wants to relive that. It can get a lot dire. So going back to our roots and playing that style of play that you're talking about is exactly what we want to see. If the players are not good enough, you change your players. If we start losing Clive's famous saying, Kian, I said it on the pod the other day, he'd rather win 6-5 than 1-0. We'd rather lose 5-6 as well than lose 1-0. Trust me. So if there is an intention to play offensive football, Barca-style football, and in the beginning it's not working out, trust me, the patience will be there. This season is mira, lo tiene gratis. He's got this one already on the go. It's an extra. Next season is really the season where Xavi Hernandez will be judged based on the preseason, based on how much activity there will or will not be during the transfer markets. This season, it's a here, take it along with the pack. I mean, nobody will come down on Xavi for what he has done so far this season. And again, I want to go back to your some of your snipey and very unfortunate tweets I found from the Churros y Tácticas account, where you talk about Sergi Barjuan bringing, Guardiola style football, Clive, this, that, and the other.
It was beautiful.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that to a man that is again from the house, has had 24 hours with the team. I mean, nobody expects nothing from Sergi Barjuan. If anything, he's already done way better than we could have ever expected, and we're all very grateful for him bringing good atmosphere into the team, bringing buen rollo, making the players feel some sort of purpose, unity again. I've been to the practices, and I'll tell you what, in 2 weeks the practices have changed from what the practices were before. Not so much of intensity. I'm only there for 15 minutes, but you can tell that there's like a relief. There's a good unity. There's an atmosphere. The young players are they're part of the group as well. It's not just the heavyweights. In fact, I would say even that the ones that stand out most in the practices and that are the most oppervallig, like the most outstanding, are the younger, the dream teens, as they call them, right? Your Gavis, your Nikos, your Ansus, your Pedris, etc. And that's great. That's great for Xavi to have these kind of young players that are willing to listen to a fucking legend that has achieved every fucking thing that they will ever dreamed of. And this can only be a good thing. This can only be a good thing. Whether we start winning or not, that's a different conversation to be held. But I'll tell you what, to your question, the patience will be there. And, it's not going to be marvelous y maravilloso from day one, but nobody expects that. But this can only be a fucking good thing, and it's fucking welcome too. I'll tell you what. God damn it. It's been too fucking long as well. It's been too goddamn long. I don't remember, being excited about a coach coming since Lucho, maybe. Since Lucho. We finally have somebody again that is going to, allow us to play the kind of football that we all want to see. Nobody expects Champions League, league titles, tripletes, sextetes, but we are expecting some sanity, normality to be instilled in this team once again.
It's a lot of hope in Barcelona's board to be patient if things don't go if there's a difference between if Barca go trophyless this season, playing bad under Xavi, and going trophyless, playing good and encouraging, and getting some moral victories here. Maybe the way Spain exited against Italy in the Euros, and everyone started clapping Spain and saying, "Okay, the future is in good hands. It's okay, we lost." If you lose that way, sure. If you lose in a bad way, the way Barca's been losing the past few years, then not so much. I think Xavi is going to do great things. So I'm not the one that is going to be like Xavi, is a bad coach or whatever. And truth be told, I just don't know, and nobody knows, and anyone who says they know doesn't know. But there is a lot of reason to believe that he's going to do really great things because he's such an intelligent footballer. But we have to leave room for things to go wrong and maybe things not to materialize, because we've seen many genius footballers and great midfielders in past just didn't work out as a coach for whatever reason. I just want to I have a counter to you'd rather lose 6-5 than lose 1-0. My counter to that would be, if you play gung-ho that way, I don't think you're losing 6-5. I think you're losing 6-0. I think you're losing 8-2. I think you're losing 5-0 rather than losing 1-0. That would be my counter to that. And that's why if I'm a
then you haven't seen Ansu Fati play, then you haven't seen Memphis play, then you haven't seen Frankie de Jong link up nicely with Pedri. I mean, you're saying we don't have quality to put the ball into the back of the net? Come on, Kian.
I'm saying you don't have quality to defend elite teams who are
correct. Who are okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if you're going to score. If you're demoralized and you're chasing you can try to have position, but sometimes you just can't. And if you can't hold the ball, if let's say if Xavi wants to come in and play a certain way against Manchester City, just because he wants to doesn't mean he can keep the ball against Manchester City. Manchester City are better at keeping the ball than Barcelona are at this phase of their clubs. You know what I mean? So if you're not able to control the game in that sense and you're not able to defend, I don't think it's a 6-5 loss. I think it's a 6-1 loss. That's my
hypotheticals.
Point.
Hypotheticals.
But my point is, would Xavi adjust to that? I don't know the answer, and that's what I would be worried about if I'm a Barcelona fan, is that side of it. That's all. So, listen, I don't know. I'm as a friend. I feel like you need to lower your expectations just a little bit. I know you're happy. I get you're happy.
Do you understand?
But just
at what point did I exceed my expectation when I said that I know that titles are not a guaranteed and assured thing, and Champions League trophies will not start falling out of the sky? I'm not saying that. Nobody is saying that. Nobody's expecting that. But you know what it means to finally have somebody back in the reins, back in the driver's seat, that is actually going to, practice a style of football that, again, I repeat this sentence over and over again on this fucking pod, that we identify with, that we want to see.
Okay. I mean, and that's subjective, and that's what Barcelona fans want, I guess. I
have this sense that people, and it was funny too, because I've had this kind of, they turn into arguments with people when they're like, "Oh, you're so stupid. You think that they just care and winning doesn't matter, and fucking 6-5." And it's like, you know what? Yes. There are actually people that like to watch football that where the 3 points are secondary because you know that in the